All right, welcome back to WMMA Scene Now with your host, Chuck Stevenson, and welcome to episode 85 of the WMMA Scene Report, our regular show where we go over everything going on within the world of women's mixed martial arts. A little bit of news, a little bit of fight results, rankings, updates, previews, you name it. If it's going on within the world of women's MMA, we're going to talk about it. I almost didn't do the show tonight because I just wasn't feeling it. I'm tired, but then I remembered last week I talked about consistency, so can't talk about consistency and then just go, oh well, not going to do it. So let's start where we always with the past weekend's fight review. So let's see, bring it up here. First up, we're going to one championship in Singapore for Unbreakable. Had one ladies fight at 115 pounds. It's ended up being a catch weight, because one of the Mung Bo missed weight. Anyway, Mung Bo defeated Samara Santos via unanimous decision. Mung climbed to 17-5. Santos fell to 11-8. This was supposed to be an easy, stay busy fight for Mung Bo. I mean, Santos has come in having lost 6 of her last 7. Was meant to be like a super, super easy fight. I don't know if Mung Bo was in her own head. I don't know if Santos had just prepped really well. Maybe it was Santos knowing how to use her length and reach a little bit better than, some of Mung Bo's recent opponents. But Santos gave Mung a harder time than, I think anybody had expected her to. I mean, I'm not going to say that there was ever any doubt who was winning the fight, but it should have been a lot easier than this. It was meant to be a drubbing, and Santos gave a good account of herself in a losing effort here. So, nice effort by Santos, even though she has now lost 7 of her last 8. Also, this past weekend was UFC. These are all out of order. Sorry about that. They're all out of order. UFC 257. First up at bantamweight. Juliana Pena on the right there defeated Sarah McMahon via submission due to rear naked choke, 3 minutes, 39 seconds of the 3rd round. Like I said last week, whoever derps last will be the winner, and it ended up being Pena who derped last. McMahon derped pretty hard in the 3rd round. And one thing about McMahon, she's kind of a front runner in that if she gets into trouble, she just kind of quits on herself sometimes. And I think that's what happened here as well. It sucks to see, but nice of Juliana Pena, who called out the champion, Amanda Nunes, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But next up on the main card opener at strawweight, Marina Rodriguez defeated Amanda Ribas via TKO at 54 seconds of the 2nd round. Rodriguez climbed to 13-1-2. Ribas fell to 10-2. Big upset here and a big hype train crash for Ribas. But, I mean, she just left herself wide open for counter punches in the 2nd round. Got hit with a big left hand that dropped her, sent her face down, butt up. Rodriguez pounded for some ground and pound. Herb Dean looked like he was going to stop it, didn't, so it ended up getting stopped on the feet there. Really nice effort there from Marina Rodriguez, who was kind of stalled out for a bit. She was just coming off her first career loss, preceded by a draw. So she had kind of stalled out for a bit, but came back and, put in a nice effort in this one after having lost this 1st round as well. And then finally on UFC 257 on the main card as well at flyweight, Joanne Calderwood on the right-hand side there defeated Jessica I via unanimous decision. Calderwood climbed to 15-5. I fell to 15-9. Fun fight here. Fun. Not fancy at all. Sloppy fight, but a very fun fight. Just Joanne Calderwood just outworking Jessica I. I just throwing these single punches, and every time she threw a jab, Calderwood knew it was coming and was able to counter successfully and just showed that she is an all-around better, more well-rounded striker on the feet as well. So a fight that I was expecting to be boring just was not boring at all. So that is it for this past weekend's fights. which brings us down next into the news. First up, Babylon 19 goes down February 19th in, I believe, Poland. They added a bantamweight bout between Rosa Gumiena, coming in 3-0. She's taking on Katarina Shakalova, coming in at 3-1. And then Titan FC 67 goes down February 12th in Miami. They're one of the Fight Pass events that are streamed there. They added a bantamweight bout between Evelyn Martins, coming in 1-0, taking on Melissa Croden, coming in 2-0. Martins, you might remember, mentioned her before. She defeated Serena De Jesus in her pro debut. Then next up, some LFA news. LFA has signed 25-year-old strawweight Jacqueline Amorim, a 2-0 amateur out of Brazil. So a nice young strawweight talent there getting signed to LFA. And then next up, congratulations to UFC flyweight Liana Jojua, who announced via her Instagram that she had been promoted to purple belt in BJJ. So, you know, I know like in belt ranks, that's halfway to black belt because it goes white, blue, purple, brown, black. Now, I think that's, as far as like time put in, I think that's less than halfway. But I know as far as like the actual belt colors go, that's halfway to black belt. So congratulations to Liana Jojua. Then some more UFC fight news. UFC Fight Night goes down February 6th. There's been a change to a bantamweight bout. Nico Montano is out of her bout with Carol Hossa due to she failed her medicals. Apparently, Nico Montano was in a bad car wreck where she got rear-ended, went to go do her medicals, and was failing her eye tracking test. And doctor said it was a concussion symptom. Not sure when exactly the car crash happened, but apparently she's still showing concussion symptoms. So unfortunately, she is out of her bout against Carol Hossa. Wish Nico Montano the best in her recovery. Replacing Montano versus Carol Hossa is going to be Jocelyn Edwards, who just fought last weekend against Wu Yanan, defeating her in her UFC debut on a short notice. So coming off of a short notice debut win, taking another short notice fight against a very promising fighter in Carol Hossa. So this should make for a very interesting fight there on next weekend. And then UFC has signed Chinese flyweight Na Liang, who has a record of 4-4, the third graduate from its academy at the UFC Performance Institute in Shanghai. She is 24 years old, and I believe I mentioned she has a 14-4 record. Haven't seen her fight in a while. Her last couple fights have been at Wulinfeng in China, which good luck finding fights from there. It's not easy. Nice to see the first female graduate to sign to the UFC out of the academy there at the Shanghai Performance Institute. The other two signees have both been male. One of them is Alatung Haile, and the other male is Alacheng. His nickname is the Mongolian Murderer. I think I just murdered his name, by the way. Anyway, moving on. Icon 5 goes down March 5th in Biloxi, Mississippi. They now added a strawweight bout between Emily King and Kayla Rocco. Should be a nice little strawweight bout between two, relatively inexperienced fighters. Well, King's not necessarily inexperienced, but is still on that lower level. Rocco, I think, was fighting at flyweight, so I believe she's moving down for this one. I believe that is the fourth women's bout added to Icon. I haven't seen if any of the other ones are canceled yet, so if not, then that's 4 ladies bout on that card, which should air on UFC Fight Pass as well. Then Triton Fights goes down March 27th in Tampa Bay. Added, a bantamweight bout between Despina Karavis, coming in at 0-1, taking on Rebecca Evans, making her debut. She has a 4-0 amateur record. And then finally, some news out of USADA. So Raquel Pennington announced via her social media that she has accepted a 6-month suspension from USADA, gave a reason why. Now, USADA, since then, this all went down today, has released their own statement explaining the situation. I haven't had a chance to read USADA's yet, so I'm not going to go further into that. I plan on making a video on its own tomorrow night, so keep an eye out for that. Anyway, Raquel Pennington suspended 6 months by USADA. Sucks. You hate to see it. And that's all I'm going to say for now until I read USADA's statement and then hash it out and do a video response to that. Not happy with Raquel Pennington so right now until I dig further into it and see what the excuses are. So anyway, that is it for the news for this week. So next up, let's get into some rankings discussions. Let me bring it back up here. Okay, so no changes in one championship rankings this week. In fact, there has been a change since they instituted those rankings in the women's divisions. Anyway, UFC rankings at strawweight. You see Marina Rodriguez moved up 2 slots from 8 to 6, moving Claudia Gadelha down from 6 to 7, and Watterson down from 7 to 8. So even though Rodriguez right there had fought Amanda Hebos down at number 10, and she was at 8, that just goes to show you beat a hyped fighter like that, chances are you're going to get a boost in the rankings, even if you beat someone lower ranked than you. That stopping a hype train can do a lot for you. Then over at flyweight, Joanne Calderwood moved up 1 spot from 7 to 6. Viviane Araújo moved up 2 spots from, 9 to 7. And Jessica I moved down 2 spots from 6 to 8. And Roxanne Modafferi moved down 1 spot from 8 to 9. Pretty standard movements considering all 4 of those fighters recently fought. Araújo defeating Modafferi and Calderwood defeating Jessica I. So that's pretty standard there. Then at bantamweight, there was some actual changes too. Juliana Pena moved up 1 spot from 6 to 7, moving 7 to 6, moving Ketlin Vieira down from 6 to 7. So Pena benefiting from that win over number 9 ranked Sarah McMahon. So pretty standard ranking changes. Winning fighters moved up, losing fighters moved down, except for Amanda Hebos, who stayed where she was. So that is it for the UFC rankings updates for this week. Let's move into the weekend preview. First up, we're going to one championship. Unbreakable 2 has a... This is a catchweight bout, I believe. A 138-pound catchweight bout. This is listed on Tapology. I'm not sure that's entirely accurate, but Savannah Ree, Savage Buddha M taking on Jung Yoon Che. M coming in at 3-1. Che coming in at 2-1. M coming off a loss a year and a month ago to Rayan Bastos via guillotine choke in one championship. Jung Yoon Che coming off a loss in her one championship debut to Maia Mazar a little over 2 months ago, in what was really a gimme fight for Mazar anyway. Let's go ahead. This one I want to go further down the stats. You got M is 28 years old to Che is 22, so Che is a lot younger, but the height difference here is what I want to focus on. Che is 5 feet 9 inches, 174 centimeters tall, to M's 5 feet 4 inches, 163 centimeters. So a 5-inch height difference there for Che. She is a tall young lady. I don't really have a pick for this one because both are fairly inexperienced. I haven't watched M fight any of M's fights since the loss to Bastos. Che, I'll be honest, she looked frightened in her last fight against Maia Mazar. That was also her first fight in almost 4 years. So I can kind of understand why going in there against a more experienced opponent in a fight that you were meant to lose. She looked just scared to engage. Hopefully she isn't scared to engage this time and we get a more entertaining bout out of her. So I'm not going to make a pick on this one. Then on Friday night, we move to LFA 98, which has 2 ladies bouts. First up, Marissa Chavez coming in. making her pro debut, taking on Marisol Ruelas. I think it's Marisol Ruelas, coming in at 1-2. Chavez coming in, making her pro debut, but looks like she's on a 4-fight win streak in the amateurs, having last fought a year and 8 months ago. Ruelas coming off a loss a year and 4 months ago to Crisada Adames. Before that, had a win over Corey Elizabeth in Combate Americas a year and 9 months ago. This is another one, neither of them have fought recently, and they just don't have enough experience, really, or enough footage out there for me to make a pick. So I'm going to skip a pick on this one. And then also on that card at strawweight, the first bout if I didn't mention is at flyweight, but this one is at strawweight. Tabitha Ricci taking on Vanessa Marie Grimes. Ricci coming in at 3-0, coming off a successful LFA debut 4 months ago, winning a unanimous decision. Grimes looks like she won her first bout and is now riding a 5-fight losing streak, most recently losing via rear naked choke submission 5 months ago. Before that, lost a decision a year and 2 months ago. Let's see. Looks like Grimes is the elder fighter also by 11 years, 36-25, and Grimes is a taller fighter, 5'6" 5'1". This is an obvious LFA setup fight for Tabitha Ricci here. I mean, I'm not going to make – you know what? I'll go ahead and make the pick here. This one should be pretty obvious. Ricci is being set up to win here. So I'm going to go with Ricci. And if she loses, she loses. If not, it won't be a surprise to anyone. And then on Saturday, we go to Czech Republic for Octagon 21. Octagon 21 has 3 ladies bouts, all 3 in the bantamweight division. First up, we have Teresa Bleda. Excuse me, this one's at flyweight. So 2 in the bantamweight division, 1 at flyweight. First up, Teresa Ronda Bleda taking on Judita Rymarzek. Bleda coming in at 1-0 with a nice amateur record before that. Rymarzek coming in at 3-2, coming off of 2 straight wins. Another one, I don't know enough about either of these two. Never seen Rymarzek fight. Bleda looks like a promising striker. She does have a 3-inch height advantage, so has that going for her as well. I just don't feel comfortable enough to make a pick on this one. Then up at this one saying 137, so it looks like a catch weight. Lucia Zabova, the Queen Bee, coming in taking on Rizlin, the Lioness of the Atlas Zoak. Zabova coming in at 1-0. Zoak coming in at 3-1. Zabova obviously coming in off a successful pro debut 2 months ago via armbar submission. Zoak coming off her first pro loss 2 years, 8 months ago in EFC via TKO. So you got someone who's only 1 fight versus someone with 4 fights but hasn't fought in a long time. So it kind of even things up a bit. But, yeah, I don't. You know what? I'm going to go with Zoak based on the experience factor here. It'll depend on how much ring rust affects her, though. And then up on the main card at bantamweight, Lucia Pudalova taking on Marta Vedera Valacek. The Czech Lucia Pudalova coming in 9-6. Valacek coming in at 4-2. Pudalova coming on off her first win in a while, little over a month and a half ago, defeating Cornelia Holm in Octagon. Valacek coming in off a loss that was like, wow, a year and a half ago to Yulia Stoliarenko via armbar. Let's see here. Valacek's like 9 years older. No, 7 years older, 33-26. Yeah, 7 years, 33-26. Let's see, around the same height, same reach. I'm going to go with Pudalova on this one. She's coming off the win. She's coming in confident. And she's taking on someone in Valacek who was like one of Yulia Stoliarenko's first round armbar victims. Now, if it stays standing, could be anyone's game, but tell you what, losing to Yulia Stoliarenko via 30 seconds to an armbar, it doesn't give me a lot of confidence in Marta Volacek. So we're going to go with the hometown girl, Lucia Pudalova, to win this one and to get a streak going back. Okay, so that is it for the fights for this weekend. So want to talk a little bit about the art of the call-out. You know, when should you make call-outs? When should a fighter make call-outs? How should they do it? Who should they call out? So first off, when should you make a call-out? Well, honestly, any time is good. Coming off a loss is usually not a good time to make a call-out, but really any time. But after a win, you're in there, you're in the cage, you're in the ring, you just won. They're almost assuredly going to ask you, who do you want to fight next? That is the best time to call someone out. That is the best time, because that is when the crowd is most likely going to get behind you. So that is when a fighter should be calling out whoever they want to face next. If you're close to title contention and you want to call out the champion, that's the time to do it, when you got some hype riding behind you because you're coming off a good win. So that's win. But really, any time is a good time, as long as you're not coming off a loss. I think then that's a bad time to be calling someone out, at least right after the loss. But if you're just want to fight, boom, make your call out. That's the best time to do it. You've got the whole world watching, or at least all the viewers of that particular event watching. Make your call out. State your case. Otherwise, you're just going to be one of those, I'll face anybody. I'll face whoever the company wants me to fight. Oh. That's stupid. Stupid. Everybody says it's stupid. Whether it's the commentators, the talking heads on YouTube, or whatever in the media, everybody acknowledges that is like the worst thing you can do right then when they ask you, who do you want to face next? Oh, fight whoever they want me to fight. Don't do that. Make a darn call out. How should you do it? Just say, hey. Just go, hey, so-and-so, I want to fight you next. Or, hey, I've been on a winning streak. I'm close to contention. I want a title shot. Give me the title shot. It's not hard to make a call out. Or you can do it on social media. That's how you can do it. You can do it then on there too. Say, hey, I want to fight such and such, and include the promoter that you're currently fighting under or you'd like to fight them at. Make that your call out. That's a good time where to do it. When, where, or how. Where? Like I said, best time in the Octagon and or ring, wherever. That's where you should do it. Right after a win. Is there such a thing as a bad call-out? Yes. If you are still new to the division and you barely cracked the top 15, don't be calling out the champion. That's just silly, because you're not going to get it. I mean, okay, it looks good. It looks like you're hungry. It makes you look hungry, but don't just call out the champ, or don't call out someone coming off a loss, because then that makes you look up just like, oh, I want an easy win too because they're coming off a loss. So definitely don't do that. Don't call a champ out when you're barely even in the rankings or not even ranked yet, and don't call out someone coming off a loss, because that's just looks opportunistic, like you're taking an easy fight against someone who's down on their luck. I have the picture there of Juliana Pena beating Sarah McMahon for this past weekend. And, she's been getting a lot of heat because she called out the champ. She called out the champ and said Amanda Nunes is ducking her. And then she continued to do it on social media. And I see a lot of talking heads saying that she's an idiot. She's stupid. That was stupid. Blah, blah, blah. And, this to me is an example of MMA fans just being so fickle. Because if you don't make a call out, you're an idiot. But if you don't make the call out that they like, or you don't make it in a way that they want you to do it, well, then they hate that too. It just shows the fickleness of MMA fans. Personally, I do not have a problem with Juliana Pena calling out the champ. She's, what? Let me see. What ranking is she right now? Just had it. She just moved up to number 6. Let's see. Aldana's coming off a loss. Pennington just got suspended. Aspen Ladd isn't back yet. Holm and GDR both have fairly recent losses to the champ. So I have no problem with Juliana Pena calling out the champ Amanda Nunes. And then she also said, hey, Nunes, I want to fight you, but if you're not going to defend your belt, then you should vacate it, because it has been well over a year since Nunes defended the bantamweight strap. So I don't have a problem with that either. I think it just comes down to a lot of people don't like Juliana Pena because she runs her mouth. I know a lot of people hated her from that incident when she like ball tapped a bouncer in a bar. Basically punched him in the nuts. But I have no problem with Juliana Pena calling out Amanda Nunes. I think saying that she ducked her is obviously a stretch, but you know what? Whatever. It got people to talk about her. And, you know, one person who was really good at the art of the call-out was Chael Sonnen. And Chael Sonnen was good at it because Chael Sonnen follows the pro wrestling model. And the pro wrestling model says, it doesn't matter if you love me or hate me, as long as you react to me and what I do and say. That is a great model, especially in MMA as well, an individual sport where you need fans to be talking about you, whether they love you or they hate you, as long as they talk about you. The worst thing that could happen is you come off a big win and nobody talks about it. And guess what? You come off a big win and you don't make a good call out, well, chances are the amount of time that people are going to spend talking about it is going to be a lot lesser than had you made that big call out. So Pena came off a good win, got a 3rd round submission finish. 3rd round. Rare to get a submission in the 3rd round. Fighters come out, they're all sweaty. It's harder to get a grip. So Pena came out, got that 3rd round submission, made the call out. I think she made the right choice. I think she did it right. So kudos to Juliana Pena for making a call out. So that's really all I want to talk about before I finish that, yes, she got people talking about her. So she did it right. Whether people liked it or hated it, guess what? People are talking about her. So she did the right thing. Anyway, that's really all I have for that subject. And that's all I have for episode number 85 of the WMMA Scene Report. Now, this Sunday, where's the arrow at? WMMA Q&A, doing a live chat with special guest John Young Ko of Kumite TV and SCMP MMA. It's going to be the WMMA Q&A Asia edition. John lives in Korea, works over there, is a member of is like a legit member of the MMA media, paid member of the MMA media, and is deeply involved in the Asian MMA scene, as well as covering the big events like ONE, UFC, etc. So he's going to come on, talk about the Asian MMA scene, try to talk about the women as much as he can. If you have questions, go to my community page on my channel. There is a post there with the same thumbnail. Post a question below, and we'll ask those questions first. Or you can come in live, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and ask questions away. I gotta keep this one tight to an hour though, from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. John's schedule is a little tight, so try to get in there and get your questions asked. I'll also have some questions prepared for him as well. So definitely tune in. Sunday, the 31st, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, WMMA Q&A Asia Edition. So that's all I have for episode number 85. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you like the video, please give it a like. And while you're at it, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMMA Scene Now, the most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.